And new details today on how the Trump administration plans to deliver on one of his top campaign promises, deporting millions of migrants who have illegally crossed into the country under the Biden administration. The Trump transition team already looking into the logistics, reportedly eyeing a major boost in surveillance, including using these ankle or wrist monitors, with the goal of helping to alleviate the stress on local jails, which have been used to detain many illegal migrants. Those jails becoming severely overcrowded, with some detainees forced to sleep on the floor. Here's what one Florida sheriff told NewsNation earlier this year about the situation at his jail.
My jail is overcrowded right now, and 50% of the people sleeping on the floor in my jail because I don't have adequate bed space are taken up by undocumented and illegal immigrants.
So the Trump administration's plan already being met with heavy criticism from the other side of the aisle, with Democratic mayors in cities like Denver and San Diego reaffirming their commitment to their sanctuary city status. So in just a moment, I'll be speaking with a Chicago alderman about a fiery city budget meeting, which saw plenty of pushback from angry residents. But first, we're going to head out to News Nation's Robert Sherman in Palm Beach, Florida, for more on Trump's plans. Robert.
Yeah, no two ways about it here, Nichole. President-elect Trump has said he wants this to be a day one issue, securing the U.S.-Mexico border, beginning these wide-scale deportation operations, which he has vowed to put into effect quickly here. And in terms of the plan in order to continue with these operations of securing the border, this is something that we're seeing being reported here, the expansion of some of these tools that have been used in the past, such as ankle monitors, to instead of placing undocumented migrants inside of jails and holding them in custody, using these monitors as a tool to avoid those detention mechanisms. You brought up a very important point here, Nichole, is that you've already heard from a lot of local leaders, so that they intend to resist a lot of these operations and plans that the president-elect intends to put in place. And we heard from members of Congress today who are saying they're prepared to gear up for those fights at the local level. Take a listen.
I think some of these mayors and governors who said they're going to remain sanctuary cities and states, they're going to find themselves in hot water with hopefully Attorney General Pam Bondi as she looks into obstruction of justice and aiding and abetting criminal cartels.
Congressman Andy Biggs making the point today that he believes sanctuary cities and jurisdictions pose one of the largest obstacles to the incoming administration and to Congress at this point, where it's estimated that millions of illegal immigrants have currently found residence there in many of those communities. So that is something that the Trump administration says that they're prepared to tackle and have those conversations about immediately upon assuming office. Nichole.
All right, so Robert, we know that there's a price tag for all of this. Is there any indication this would be a cost-effective approach to trying to deal with the border crisis?
Well, you hear the argument going both ways here, Nichole. ICE has been making the case for years that tools such as ankle monitors will actually bring down costs day to day. One analysis that they put out, they estimate that it'll be on average $8 per day when you use these kind of tools, which they refer to as alternatives to detention, whereas detention comes out to $150 per day. So, I mean, that's the difference in breakdown in costs that they make, which is why they would like to see more of these tools being used. But then on the other side of the coin, you see groups such as the American Bar Association making the opposite case. They publish a report that says, quote, as employed, electronic monitoring of migrants is punitive in nature because it is imposed without selective assessment of either need or risk in a one-size-fits-all approach. They contend that it's too over-encompassing and as a result will be too costly to the taxpayer. Nichole.
All right, Robert Sherman, live for us there in Palm Beach. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.